What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on ESP Mental Die by TCC. What is ESP Mental Dice? I keep saying die because there's only one, but it's named Mental Dice, so I should use that. Anyway, you've probably seen other versions of this. It is a heavy brass container in which the die gets placed inside, and from there you're able to tell what die was placed face up, kind of. We'll get more to that in a bit. So what you get, you're going to get the brass container, which is it's heavy, it's thick, it's durable. Nothing's going to happen to this thing. You will also get a matching brass die with the six different symbols. They're not the traditional ESP symbols. I guess only one's different, but you have the circle, you have a star, you have a hexagon, you have a cross, a square, and a triangle. So for those of you who are familiar with the ESP symbols, these still work the same way, and you will need to know that for some of the routines. So you get the brass container, and then you're also going to get some ESP cards. So you got the 6 cards as well. So what's the quality on these? The quality is as good as it can be, and by that I mean it's as good as it can get. The brass container is extremely well made. Everything fits together really well. It's heavy. The die is also solid. You don't have to worry about anything ever happening to these. And then the cards are thick, and they're also made out of PVC plastic, so you don't have to worry about these ever getting damaged either. These are also marked. They're marked very well. Marks are very well hidden. If anybody is familiar with the TCC Pure deck, the Pure marked cards, similar types of markings. Warning alarms going off. Okay, so quality on everything is perfect. Now, that's what you get. For anybody who wants to know what the packaging looks like, it's just... Oh, look at that. That's the packaging, the box with foam in it. So the tutorial, I think it's like 13 minutes long. It's not long. What you will learn is how to use the prop, and then you will get a number of routines. So there's matching routines, there are prediction routines, so quite a bit. And then if you're familiar with this prop, or you've used it before, you likely have your own way of presenting this, performing this, your own routine, but you're going to get a few more with this package. Difficulty level, so it's very easy to do once you know how it works. The routines are all very easy. I wouldn't say that anything about this is difficult. Angles, this is angle proof. There's nothing that you have to hide because the box hides everything for you. And we'll jump to this. Can this be examined? 100% this can be examined, right? They're going to handle this. They can look at this all day long. There's no way to peek anything. They'll see that, right? It's originally when I first saw this this being used, not the TCC version, but I wondered, how are they peeking? And there is no peek. You'll know this if you're familiar with this, but yeah, it's all enclosed. So yeah, they can completely examine this. So there's obviously no angles. Now setup and reset, I mean, depending what you want to do with these and how you want to present this, maybe you'll set something up, but you don't need to. It can be done on the spot. Pocket space, and is this a worker? So there's your pocket space. It's heavy though. Like, I don't know if this is really something you're going to carry around in like a strolling thing. You can, but it's fairly heavy, and with the cards it does take up a bit of space, just width and length, and then the box, right? Is it a worker? Yeah, this one's tough to answer sometimes, because like I don't think that I would use this in most of my working sets, because they tend to be either like stage type setting or strolling, and I just don't think that this is something I'm just going to carry around table to table or group to group. But if that's something you want to do, yeah, it can be a worker, because it's instant reset. It is fairly compact, right? Like, you can still fit other things in your pocket. It's just heavy, right? So, or if you're doing like a close-up set, you know, parlor, like you can do this in bigger settings too, but it's not going to be as impactful, because it's a fairly small die, right? And the cards aren't huge, so I think it's going to play better for you in a close-up environment. So, working, it can be for sure. It just depends if you want to include it in your working set. Who would use this? So I'd say this is directed at the mentalist, because it is an ESP style routine prop. Is it worth your money? We're going to talk more about that in the positives and negatives. But as far as quality goes, if this is something that interests you, if this is something that you want to add into your mentalism set, then it's worth the money. On sale, it's $40 as the introductory price. I know it's sold out right now, so when it comes back, I'm not sure if it'll still be on sale for $40, but the full price is $60. Now, is it worth your money? You're going to have to decide that after you hear the positives and negatives. So, positives and negatives. The positives is that everything is very, very well made, right? You'll purchase this once, you'll never need to purchase it again. Nothing is going to get ruined, damaged. It's never going to not work. And if you're doing the routines included with this, it'll always be 100%. Now, the negatives. If you're familiar with this prop, other versions that have been designed allow you to know which of the 6 sides are face up. This one doesn't. So I do feel like I need to touch on that. This will allow you to know, how do I say this? Out of the 6 sides, you will know whether it's this or this. So this is really kind of difficult to explain. But basically, you're not going to know what's face up. You will know what is either face up or face down, if that makes sense. Okay, maybe if I use this. So if this is put in with the square up, you're going to know that it's either square or triangle on top. If it's put in with the star on top, you're going to know that it's either star or the cross on top. Basically, you're going to know that it's either this or the opposing side, right? So with that said, maybe this will help explain that. The routines, you're going to need multiple outs. It's only 2, right? So there are multiple ways to do this. TCC goes over those ways just by using these cards. There are also other things that you can do if you have like a double envelope or anything that allows you 2 outs. But with that said, you don't need any extra props. You don't need any extra materials. There are ways to do that with this, and I think that what TCC does to explain the 2 outs, they do perfectly with this. So I did feel like I needed to touch on that just because you aren't going to necessarily know out of the 6 which one is facing up. I hope that makes sense. I've been thinking of different ways to explain that, and I can't really come up with anything. But out of the 6 choices that they have, you're going to know if it's one of 2 of those. I feel like I'm not explaining that well. I think I still got my point across, hopefully. I wish that maybe you could know which of the 6 it was. With that said, that's the only real negative that I have. The other thing that I've seen people mention is just why such a large container for a small die, right? It's not if you're holding it on the bottom, right? It makes sense. It's just because it's so thick that the box looks huge in comparison to the die. But I wouldn't say that that's necessarily a bad thing, other than it's really heavy. This is just going to allow it not to become damaged, because basically, if this gets bent or warped, you're not going to be able to know what you need to know. So I think everything was done for a reason. I think that overall, this is a great prop. Just know that you aren't going to know the exact symbol that's pointing up, right? You're going to know that it's either this or this. 2 different things. Okay, anyway, I've tried to explain that as best as I can. With that, I think that I've covered everything I can on this. So I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to go pick this up. Again, it is sold out right now, but it will be back in stock. With that, we'll see you at the next review.